Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter Stories 2, and today I'm going to be bringing you my endgame guide to this title. Now, you might have seen my previous video where I told you guys my thoughts on the endgame of Stories 2, which I happen to think it is quite robust. There's a lot of stuff for you to do. As a matter of fact, there are even a couple of things that aren't maybe explained the best way that they possibly could, which can lead a couple of players to get a little bit lost when they get to the endgame after they finish the story, and they're like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Because one of the things that I told you guys is that when you get to the end of the game, they basically unlock high rank for you. And I've heard from a lot of you guys that you're just going into high rank dance and getting your asses completely handed to you. And I get it. It can be a little bit challenging. So here's a couple of things that you guys should keep in mind. Now, the very first suggestion that I would have for everyone is really get a Nargacuga. I know that everybody has a Nargacuga, and you guys are like, oh, but maybe I don't want a Nargacuga. Maybe I want something else. Okay, you don't want to get a Nargacuga? Then get a monster that has a special ability to roar. There are quite a few monsters that do that. In my own Monstie party, I have a Lair, which does do the roar ability. You can see it right there. So if you do not want to have a Nargacuga, then get a Lair. Get literally any Monstie that can roar is going to be useful for you. Why? Because when you're going through some of the late game dens, you're not going to want to engage in combat every single time that you see a monster, because it's going to take you a lot of time and it's going to make you less efficient in your grinds. So, you know, if you want to go and you fight every monster in the game, then you can go and you can do that. Just know that your dens are going to take significantly longer to do, which means it's going to take you longer to get new eggs. It's going to take you longer to get new genes. And trust me, it can take significantly longer. There's been expeditions where I was with Kegrin, and because we kept bumping into monsters, like the game actually told us you got 10 minutes to finish this expedition. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that there was like timing on these expeditions. Okay, that's kind of weird. So having a Nargacuga would be like my first suggestion. Nargacugas can stealth, and that allows you to kind of bypass a lot of monsters while you're just exploring dens. Makes it a lot easier. Or a roaring monster as an alternative, because you can just roar other monsters out of the way, and that will keep you moving and therefore keep you like going through these dens at a reasonable pace. But now, another very important thing besides getting a Narga or a roaring monster, you need to get on top of your expeditions. What does this mean? Because I just said the word expeditions, not expeditions again. There's expeditions that you can actually send your Monsties to. If you go to your stable master, you'll notice that there is Monstie expeditions. This is something that gets introduced to you very early in the game. Maybe you didn't even pay that much attention to it because, you know, okay, so I can come here and like every 20 minutes or so I can send Monsties out to go collect stuff for me. But this is actually a lot more important than you might think, because to give you an idea, you can get up to 6 expeditions running at any given time, and these expeditions can bring you back some very needed things. You guys are like, well, how do I get 6 expeditions running? How does this work? You have to go to the bottle cap vendor, the Malinx Inc. thing. So this dude that's like all the way over here, Malinx Inc. You guys know the places where you spend bottle caps and whatnot. And once you go there, you have to buy a specific ticket, of which I've already bought, which are these ones. So Expedition Plus ticket, then Silver Expedition Plus ticket, and finally Gold Expedition Plus ticket. These are going to be expensive. I don't remember exactly how many bottle caps I've spent on them, but you most definitely want to get these 3 tickets from the Malinx Inc. As you can see, the first one increases the number of available expedition party slots to 2, second one increases it to 3, and the third one increases it to 6. Now, I only did this at the end game because I thought these expedition tickets were related to the multiplayer expeditions. I kind of feel like the translation on these is not particularly good. You have to, you know, actually go in there, see what the ticket does, because you just read expedition and like me, you might think, oh, this is just for the end game stuff, so it's whatever, I can get it later. But no, these you want to get as soon as you possibly can. As soon as you have enough bottle caps to get them, you should get them. And what these do is they unlock the 6 slots like I have right here. Now you guys are like, okay, so this is all fine and dandy. What am I going to get for all those slots? Well, I've saved my parties here just before they come back. They're leveling up and whatever. And like, for instance, on this particular expedition, Hokolo Forbidden Grounds, I'm going to be getting Armor Sphere M's. And I'm also going to be getting, you know, a couple of materials, whatever, but what you really want is the spheres. Weapon sphere M's as well, some Kelby horns and whatever, and training charms. Now, the training charms are not particularly important. I'm getting this one done because it brings a lot of account items as well, like you can see right here. Ancient coins, sell it at the market for some extra Zenny. And then defense nutriments as well, which are very, very, very important. Defense nutriments, offensive nutriments, all kinds of nutriments. So this is one of the expeditions that I sent out, but like I said, I sent out 6. So this one brought me like might charms as well as strength nutriments. I'm sorry, I keep like spamming buttons in here because, you know, I'm just used to doing this like super fast. And then boom, this one brings me green charms and a couple of other tickets, and then the same thing for all of these ones. And you guys are like, okay, so why do I want these charms? Why do I want these nutriments? Why do I want all of these things? And I'll show you guys. Let me just finish collecting all of it because I wanted to do a full collection and then go to the vendor so that I can show you guys something, which is after you collect all of the materials from your expeditions, which by the way, those expeditions come around like every, I think it's 80 minutes is the longest one. So you go through all of that and then you go over here to any vendor really, and you just go sell trade-in items, and boom, that is going to be 335,000 Zenny. Okay, so right there, that's 300k that you're getting for doing literally nothing. You're just sending Monsties out into these expeditions, and boom, you get 300,000 Zenny. This is going to keep fueling your endeavors. Like, as you guys can see, if I now go to like Forge, you'll notice that I have 7 million Zenny or whatever just from doing these rare dens back to back to back and constantly selling the trade-in items. If also, while you are doing this, you know, because this is just the results of one expedition coming back, but if while the expedition is out, you're also engaging in combat, you're also going through dens and collecting items, that number, when you go to sell your account items, is going to be significantly longer. And by the way, account items serve no other purpose than to get you Zenny. Okay, that is what those things are there for. So you just go in there, you sell that stuff, you get a bunch of Zenny. Zenny is going to be important for one of the endgame systems, and I will tell you why. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit more about these expeditions. So those expeditions gave me a bunch of really cool stuff, right? How do I pick which things I get? Why do I go to a certain place? Why do I not go to a certain place? And it is all about D materials, even though they don't really show... I don't think they show all of the materials in here. Yeah, they don't show the rare stuff. They show you the materials you can get from Monstie and whatnot, but they do not show you the rare stuff. So, Akolo Forbidden Grounds is bringing me the defense nutrients as well as like a couple of charms. Turga is bringing me, I think, the offense nutrients, and Lemure is bringing me the vitality nutrients. Then I have 2 running for Akolo, because Akolo is the last zone of the game, Akolo Forbidden Grounds, and that also tends to bring more items that like give you Zenny and stuff like that. And then I have 2 of them going for high rank Akolo Island. All of my expeditions are going to high rank locations, which is the star with the outline, by the way. And it's like, why am I sending 2 additional ones to Akolo Island? Because Akolo Island is where you can get finding charms, and these are very important, and I'll explain to you guys why in just a second. But first, let me tell you guys how you can set up your expedition. So a very important thing is when you're setting up an expedition, obviously you want to put 6 Monsties in there, and what you have to do is after you select the place that you want to go to, if you want to like explore a little bit and try to figure out which ones give you what, just send out a couple of expeditions on your own, or you can follow my template, which is Akolo, Turga, Lemure, another Akolo, so 2 Akolo Forbidden Grounds, 1 Turga, 1 Lemure, all high rank, and then 2 Akolo Islands. This is what I'm doing for myself, but you guys feel free to change to whatever you want. The reason, like I said, is because of the tickets that I get, as well as the defense nutrients and the amount of Zenny that I get out of these expeditions. How do you set these up? So you go in here, you select Monsties, but very important thing, you can use the triggers to scroll through the different features of the expedition. What do they tell you? Recommended elements of the Monsties that you're going to be sending in this expedition. So you got water, thunder, dragon. it is important for you to make sure that you put at least a certain number of Monsties of these types, because that is going to increase your chances of success. As you can see, we have 97% chance of success in here. I could actually push it up to 100. I've just been lazy. I haven't really been messing around with these too much. But yeah, so you can see we have Tobikadachi, Thunder, Kazu's, Thunder. Apsaros is the non-elemental one. Because non-elemental ones will also just like increase your chance of success. It's just not by as much as elemental ones. Then a Ketchawacha, which is water, another Toby Thunder, and another Level Joe Dragon. And this gives us the 97% chance of success. And I sent all these Monsties out. Also, if you need to level out specific Monsties, you can send them on these expeditions, and as you can see, they level up. But it's usually a lot easier to just go do a high rank fight, and they will level up super fast if you just keep them in your party. But you know, it is another thing that these things can do for you. So we're going to send these out again real quick. And you know, you have to basically optimize it. As you can see, we have a bunch of fire Monsties here because this expedition requires fire, ice, and dragon. You don't have to send out a balanced team. So like if you have a ton of fire Monsties like I do, just fill it with fire Monsties. It'll be fine. It'll work. Like as you can see, we have a 100% chance to complete this one. Lemure, same thing. Notice I just put a bunch of ice Monsties. It's fine. 98% chance to complete. Boom. Send all those bad boys out. And now we're going to send these ones out as well. These ones. And these ones. So, besides the Zenny that we got from those expeditions, the other thing that we got, like I told you, is we got these nutrients. If we go into our items here, and we'll scroll to this one. Vitality nutrients, strength nutrients, and defense nutrients. And you can use these to buff yourself with additional stats. So like you can go, and as you can see, I have like 100 strength, 166 vitality, 163 defense. So basically I can afford to put almost any Monstie that I want at max stats, because each Monstie can get plus 10 of these, and that increases their damage, their defense, and their health pool. So obviously your main Monsties, you'll want to make sure that you stack them with this stuff. And your hunter as well, so you can just go like, okay, strength nutrient, boom, apply it. Now on me, you can't apply it because I'm already maxed out. But like I said, 10 of these go to all of your main Monsties. So in my case, like Burlock is maxed out, Stygians and Ogre is maxed out, and Innocent over here is maxed out as well. I'm probably going to be maxing out this Silverwind Narga next. But, you know, just apply all these nutrients to the Monsties that are the most important to you at any given time, because that will increase their power. Even though it says elemental attack power, I think that this just increases power, period, and it's not properly translated, but I'm not 100% sure how that works out. Either way, your main Monsties, you should just give them all of this stuff. Now, the other things that we were getting, like I told you, is the charms. And why are charms important? Charms are buffs. You can come to the little prayer pot here, and you can offer it charms. After you offered a certain amount of charms, it's going to level up. I believe that the max level of this thing is level 20. And one of the most important charms, in my opinion, is Finding Charm. This is why I have 2 expeditions going to Hakolo Island, because that is where I'm getting those Finding Charms from. These charms increase by 20% your chance to get monsters with rare genes. So whenever you're going to dens and picking up eggs, you want to have this buff. If you're going to combat, you might want to have Might Charms, or you might want to have Mounting Charms. If you need to level up your dudes, get some Training Charms. Or if you want to get better combat results for rare rewards, like if you're grinding for materials and monsters, you want to get the Lucky Charms, of which I also have 200. So, you know, you can pray for these things, and you can choose the amount of charms that you want to put on them. Like right now I already have 75, but I could like make another offering, and boom, that'll put it to 99 minutes of that buff. Then you can also pray. I don't know if these stack, but I'm like, whatever. I usually pray for both of them, because why not? You know, every time you come to town, the blue one, the small buff, goes away. So I always just pray for both of them and keep both of them going at all times. But, you know, this is important because it's going to improve your chances, and this is why we do those expeditions. So if you pay attention, I know I spend a lot of time talking about expeditions, but, you know, with these expeditions, you're getting Zenny, you're getting buff charms, and you're getting nutrients, and you're getting it all for free. And all you got to do is, like, every 80 minutes or so, come back here and send your Monsties out again. Collect your rewards, send them out again. Boom. And all of this stuff is going to be fueling your experience in the end game. Now, something that I probably should have mentioned earlier in the video, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be editing it, so maybe I will mention it earlier. But some of you guys were like, where am I supposed to go? Because I'm still in low rank gear, and a lot of these high rank dens are kicking my ass. Elder's Lair. That should actually be one of the first things that you do in order to start unlocking armor. Go to Elder's Lair because the monsters in Elder's Lair kind of takes you through the progression of the game again, but in high rank. And a lot of those first monsters that you fight in Elder's Lair are actually more forgiving than they are in some of the high rank rare dens and high rank super rare dens. So Elder's Lair should actually be your first step in, you know, starting to get materials to craft new armor, to craft new weapons, to do all of that stuff. Okay? So Elder's Lair is one of the things that you most definitely want to do to equip yourself. Now, eventually Elder's Lair starts getting a little bit tougher. That's when you want to start, you know, looking for Monsties, doing all of that stuff. Okay, Rurikhan. So let's say I want to get new Monsties. How do I go about getting new Monsties? Okay, so you're going to need to get something that comes from Neelink's Inc. here. And if you go to exchange for items, there are two tabs at the top. One says limited to one. If you tab once to the right by pressing the right bumper button, you'll notice that you now have another one, which is unlimited. Now, there's a lot of stuff here that you might want to get, but the most important one is this one. Expedition Ticket SR, or even Palamute Ticket SR if you're looking to get like a special Palamute. Although there's a sub-quest that gives you a free SR Palamute ticket. You can only do it once, but it gives you a free one, so keep that in mind, because 100 bottle caps is actually pretty friggin' steep. Now you guys might be like, okay, so what about the R ones? Those are cheaper, like why shouldn't we just get those? Do not spend your bottle caps on Expedition Ticket Rs, okay? I'll tell you why, but do not spend your bottle caps on those. Save your bottle caps to buy like the cosmetic stuff if you want to, or buy the Expedition Ticket SRs. These are the most important ones. The Expedition Ticket SRs, these are the ones that you most definitely want to get. These are going to be your main expenditure when it comes to bottle caps, okay? You come in here and you buy the Expedition Tickets SR. As I was editing the video, I noticed that it's not entirely clear why you need to be getting these particular tickets if you've never engaged with the multiplayer systems of Monster Hunter Stories 2, so I wanted to make sure to explain to you guys that these tickets are the ones that you use in order to explore super rare dens, which not only have better quality eggs, but you'll also be able to get 4 eggs per den, and in the last egg there's a high chance for a Deviant or an Elder Dragon, especially if you take my previous advice to stock up on the finding charms and then use those before you jump into these expeditions. Also, these expeditions, despite using the game's multiplayer system, can also be done entirely solo. I'll explain that shortly. And now you guys are like, okay, so what if I run out of bottle caps? There's the Everdens, you know, spread throughout the world. You should have seen the Everdens. You can go complete the Everdens if you want to. But if you already done all the Everdens, or if you simply don't feel like doing Everdens, you can go and you can do rare expeditions, which is what the Expedition R ticket is for. But you can buy that with Zenny. And like I told you, you can get Zenny pretty much for free by just doing the other expeditions and doing combat and all of that stuff. You just get a bunch of Zenny regardless. So if you go to the regular vendor of materials and you go to the very end, you'll notice that they sell Expedition Ticket Rs for Zenny. And Zenny is a lot easier to get than bottle caps. So the idea here is the Expedition Tickets SR let you go on super rare expeditions, which is where you'll have the best chance to find some of the best Monsties and genes. And the Expedition Tickets R is something you can do to get more bottle caps while also collecting a few eggs along the way. Whichever expedition you end up doing, I would highly recommend checking all of the chests in the den, since they are a reliable source of more tickets, bottle caps, nutriments, and charms. But basically you can go to an expedition here, you go to multiplayer, and in case you want to do this, you can go do this online with friends. If you have someone on your friends list, there's actually a setting that you can go online and you can just, only the host needs to spend the ticket, by the way. So if you're doing this with friends, it actually becomes a lot more efficient, and I would recommend, if you have friends that can play with you, to do expeditions with them. Basically, you go co-op quests. And in these co-op quests, there are 2 icons. You see the worldwide and the little smiley face. That the smiley face is for both finding quests from your friends, like if they're on your friends list, it'll just be listed there, or for you to actually create a quest yourself. So you can just come over here and you can create any one of these quests, right? So the most important ones, though, are the exploration ones right here. Explore jungle den, woodland den, snowy mountain den, desert den, flowery den, or volcanic den. So let's go to one of these, and then you can change the multiplayer rules, and you can decide to have a friend slot. So what does this mean? Only your friends will be able to join this particular game. So this is to prevent like randoms from joining in if you just want to play with a friend, or you can set that to none if you want to accept a random into your party, and you can just do it that way. You do need Nintendo Online if you're playing this on Switch. I don't know how it works on PC. I've heard that PC has a lot of problems with region locking right now. Hopefully they'll be able to fix that. But either way, you go in here, you select OK, you select your party. In case this is not the party that you want, you can go back, multiplayer setup, and you go to edit party, and then change to whatever party you want to take into multiplayer. Like I said, I would heavily recommend you to bring a Nargacuga with you of any type, because it makes things go a lot faster. And then you just choose whichever one you want to do, start, and then here you get to choose what type of expedition you're doing. I don't think normals are really worth it, personally, but you know, if you don't have any other kinds of tickets, and if you don't have enough Zenny to buy an expedition ticket R, sure, go do an expedition normal, get a couple of bottle caps so that you can start stacking up to an SR or an R. I'm going to be using an R ticket here, even though I'm actually not going to use a ticket, but once you get this started, it is going to create a co-op lobby. Now, the reasoning I'm doing this is just to show you kind of how these things work, right? So you start a co-op lobby, and if you allowed other players to join, they would join. They'd be able to join on your rare thing here. The card only gets used after you start. So right now, the expedition ticket has not been used yet. And let's say, for instance, you know, you're just playing solo, so you don't really have online, and you're just like, okay, so I just want to do this solo, so whatever. You can go to your menu, and you can just click Start Now, and they will assign an NPC companion for you. So you don't need to pay for Nintendo Online to do these rare expeditions or whatever. These can be done in co-op. They can also be done solo, and the AI companions are fairly competent. I've done a couple of SR dens, no real issues there using AI companions, so you know, I don't think that there's a huge problem there. You should be fine, both in rare expeditions and SR expeditions. But yeah, that is a lot of expeditions. And now you guys are wondering, okay, but I want to find this very specific rare monster that is not available in the low rank. How do I go about doing this, Rurikhan? Please explain to me, like, I want to go find a Silver Wind Nargacuga. Where do I have to go? And the way it works is these are actually spread out through the different locations of that of these exploration quests that I've told you about. So they all have several Monsties that are available, as you might have noticed as you go through each of the zones in the game throughout the story. You'll notice that each zone has certain monsters attached to it. When you get to the end game and you want to find like the more rare monsters like Elder Dragons and Deviants, then for starters, you need to do it in a SR expedition, okay? You're not going to be getting Deviants and certain Elder Dragons in rare dens. At least I haven't gotten any. If you're really lucky and you've gotten one, congratulations. But usually if you want to get a Deviant or a really good Elder Dragon, you want to go to a super rare den. You want to use one of those super rare den tickets. So where are each of them, right? So in the jungle den, on the very last egg, that is the egg of your objective, on the very last egg, there's going to be like a strong monster guarding it. You have to fight it, and then you can go get an egg from a nest there. The very last egg in the jungle den, you can find Nergigantes and Silverwind Nargacugas. On the woodland den, on the very last egg, you can find Kushala Daora and Grimclaw Tigrex. On the snowy mountain den, you can find Velkhana and Thunderlord Zenogre. On the desert den, you can find Bloodbat Diablos and Nergigante. On the flowery den, you can find Kirin and Silverwind Nargacuga. And on the volcanic den, you can find Nergigante, Teostra, and Dread Queen Rathian. Now, in regards to the volcanic den, it is also important to mention that if you just want to grind Nergigantes, you can find those in the rare den as well. That is one of the few exceptions where I have found several Nergigantes in just rare dens. So just using Expedition Ticket R and not the SR, you can find quite a few Nergigantes in there as well if that is what you want to grind. But this is how you go about getting some of the, stronger monsters. Now, optimizing the ever-living crap out of your Monsties, getting all the crazy bingos that you can possibly get so that you can make something that looks like my boy Innocent right here, where he's just like chock full of power bingos and thunder bingos. I'm not even saying this is the best build for a Lagiacrus, bear in mind, but like, look at all those bingos. All of those are like giving me tons and tons of bonuses. So we have 150% damage when it comes to thunder, as well as 150% damage when it comes to power attacks, which is pretty good. You guys are like, okay, so how do I go about min-maxing my dudes like that? Well, I'm sure you understand the basics of the rite of channeling, right? You go and you can, select a monster that you want to get genes from. So like, say for instance, I would want to get this critical kinship gene or whatever and put it in my Logi. I could do that. I'm not going to, because it's probably going to mess up my whole thing here. But you guys get the idea. So you can use the ritual of channeling to do this. And now you guys are like, but how do I find the genes? That is the important thing. How do I know where genes come from? There's actually something in your menus. If you go to your field guides, there is a book of genes. Book of Genes shows you every single gene in the game as you unlock them. As you can see right now, I've unlocked 359 genes out of 398. Which are all of the genes in the game. We don't know if through updates we might eventually be getting additional genes. We're definitely going to be getting additional Monsties as we move forward. But this is how you look for the genes. You can also sort them. So like say, okay, I want to see Elementalist genes, which would be these ones. I want to see fire genes, water genes, thunder genes, ice genes, strength genes. And then as you're going through these genes, you might be like, okay, so let's say for instance I want to get this Rampage Gene XL, which gives you heavy Rampage, which deals massive non-elemental damage to all enemies. Accuracy is low, but a strike will be a critical hit. How do I get this particular ability? You have to get it from a Grimclaw Tigrex. And if there's only one Monstie in the compatible list, most likely this is a key gene of that Monstie. So that means that if you just get that Monstie, even if it's not rare, you should be able to get this gene out of it. But that's how you do things, right? So what do you got to do in order to get this gene? You got to go to a zone where you can get Grimclaw Tigrexes, which if you paid attention, as I was saying earlier, Grimclaw Tigrex is in the 8-star Woodland Den co-op quest. Those exploration, you explore Woodland, you go in there with a super rare ticket, and you'll be able to get yourself a Grimclaw Tigrex egg. Then you bring that back, you level them up, and then you can move this gene to whatever monster you want. And you can do this for any of the 398 genes as you unlock them. Now, some of them are a little bit harder to come by. I know that a lot of people will probably be looking for this one, the self-heal gene that comes off of Nergigante or pretty much any other Elder Dragon. This one's actually not that hard to get, but a lot of people have been jonesing for this one. So a good way to get this one, for instance, would be to go do rare dens in the volcanic area, because you can get Nergigantes even if the stuff is just rare. So that's how you go about min-maxing your dudes with your genes and all of that. And do keep in mind that if you go to the Monstiepedia, you have access to a bunch of more details about the Monsties themselves, like what are their basic stats, do they have good hit points, do they have good crit rate, are they fast, what's the deal, and what are their elemental stats in terms of like their attack and whatnot. So the Cachawacha, as you can see, is actually pretty friggin' weak. But if you go to like a Black Dibbles, and you're like, ooh, that's got some decent HP. That's also got some decent elemental attacks and whatnot. It's pretty good, pretty good. I like it. It also shows you what the eggs look like. And as a matter of fact, if you want to just like, go back to seeing what they looked like when they were wee little babies coming out of their eggs, you can do that too on the Monstiepedia. The Monsterpedia will show you which monsters are rideable, which monsters are not. If you notice here in the In the Urzuros, you'll notice that's got that little blue egg symbol. That means that you can ride the Urzuros. And then in the Tetsukabra, there's no such blue symbol, which means we can't ride Tetsukabras, and I'm still upset over it. Okay, Capcom, fix this. Even Hojo rides a Tetsukabra in Monster Hunter Rise, for crying out loud. Anyway, so this should get you set up in, you know, getting your materials and stuff from Elder's Lair, and then doing your expeditions to getting Monsties and all that. Now, guys are like, well, what if I just want to grind Deviant materials because I want to craft those sweet Deviant armors? Well, for starters, there is a Deviant quest line, which actually starts here in Mahana. There's a Scrivener here by the time you finish the game. If you talk to that Scrivener, she gives you a message that sends you to Lelouchon, to the clerk, and that one will start the Deviant quest line for you. And the Deviant quest line will take you through, and it will, you know, you'll fight some regular monsters, some subspecies and stuff like that, and then eventually it will take you to the Deviants themselves, which will get you the army significantly early. The armor and weapons of them significantly early, and I think after you defeat those Deviants, you can actually just go into multiplayer quests again, and in those multiplayer quests, you'll notice that I have quests for each of the Deviants themselves. Slay Silverwind Nargacuga, Grimclaw Tigrex, Bloodbat Diablos, Thunderlord Zenogre, and Dreadquin Rathian. And these don't actually require tickets, so you can just go and you can go and do them. There's like whatever, like boom, there you go, Bloodbat Diablos lobby coming up. And then, very much like before, you can just start the quest if you want, and they will bring in an NPC companion to help you out, and you can go fight a Bloodbath Diablos. That is how that works in terms of you getting materials for Deviants and all that stuff, as well as the Deviant quest line. And finally, there's another quest line that I've only unlocked recently, which is the Elders quest line. I'm not sure how important this one is going to be for you guys. If you guys are working on the Elders Lair, you'll eventually fight all of the Elders regardless, as well as all of the Deviants, because all of those are present in the Elders Lair. As you go deeper and deeper into the Elders Lair, you eventually encounter all of those. But there will be a quest that you will be able to do earlier in the game. It is a 4-star quest. As a matter of fact, a lot of this information actually comes from Rage Gaming. So thank you, Rage Gaming, for making a video on this, because I wasn't sure when I had unlocked this particular quest. Artifact Excavation right here. So this is given to you by the Ore Appraiser in Lelouchon, and this is a quest where they want you to go to Zeramon Ruins, which is a ruins in the desert area. You go in there, you find a couple of shinies, and then you come back, you turn this in, and then when you actually unlock high rank by finishing the game, the Ore Appraiser will give you another quest, which will basically allow you to go to Lilia and the Scrivener's Lodge, and that will get you started on an Elders quest line, so you can go fight Elders a little bit earlier. So this again is a quest that's kind of like a little bit hidden if you aren't doing all of the side quests, but it is another quest that allows you to go do Elder stuff. And yeah, that one plus the hidden Deviant quest line plus all this other information will hopefully set you guys on your path to enjoy the robust endgame of Monster Hunter Stories 2. Let me know how you guys are enjoying the game in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like if it was helpful for you in any way. If it was not, hit it up with a dislike. Feedback is important. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe, peace out.